Hey folks, Phil Gallagher here for another episode of Daily D&T. Again, we're playing Tetra versus Deck. See the deck tech on Monday for more details. Deck tech from Monday, I guess. Nah. Yes. I'm going to pitch the Swords to Plowshares here and just keep all of my dudes to have a nice 1-2-3 Vile curve. I'm not going to read into this and think, oh, my opponent is playing Dead Guy Hail. We're not going to go that deep. Maybe I should have. Fetch Entomb, animated. Yeah. Oh, never mind. Everything turned out better than expected. Although we definitely fetched the wrong piece of equipment against Baron Moore. I guess we're playing against some sort of Loam deck. I think I'm just gonna attack with Stoneforge, then flicker with my Stoneforge, get either Battered Skull or Sword of Fire and Ice. I can also just port my opponent though, and just wait a turn. Yeah, I've changed my mind in the past 3 seconds. It's just awkward if my Bile gets Abrupt Decayed. Excuse me. I have another one of those, friend. Bad news. Am I just going to repeat the line from the last turn where I Rashad and port them and then end up Flicker Wisping Stoneforge? I think I will. We're probably not actually going to learn what my opponent is playing this game. It's going to be Loam, or a Loamish thing of some nature, but we're not going to get finer details than just that. Abrupt Decay the Vial. Yeah, I think I just let that go and just use it in response. All my lines are good. Like, every single line that I could possibly take is good. I have so many different ways to deny mana that turn. Jitte, equip, denies mana. Rashadan Port, denies mana. Palace Jailer, denies mana. Yeah, sure, you have Knight of the Reliquary. Cool. So I will just, like, Flicker with my Palace Jailer and kill that. You don't really gain anything. Note to self, though, don't let opponent become the Monarch. That would be bad. But I think we're done here. Like, if my opponent doesn't play a creature, I just have 9 damage with Mom backup. If my opponent does play a creature, I just Flicker Wisp it out of the way and kill them with Mom backup. So I don't know how they're supposed to win. I guess, like, a Toxic Deluge or a Tabernacle would be cool. Dak Phaeton, the greatest thief in the multiverse. I think opponent is just going to show me more cards. Like, they're just going to discard 2 cards. I get to see 2 more cards from their deck. Alright, yeah, they didn't even get to the point where they discarded. So seeing that is actually really useful for me. Alright, what do we want against Loam? Probably like this stuff. And that. So my Swords to Plowshares are kind of medium. They nug Bob and Knight, which removing them is all fine and dandy, but they're not like the greatest things in the world. Most of my cards are fine, which is what makes this matchup very difficult to sideboard for. What was I doing previously? So I was going out previously, I was going out a Vial, out a Jitte, out 2 Givers, which are now Moms. Out Thalias. That would leave me at 60. I'm bringing in a slightly different suite of cards. So, Thalia is in some ways good against the opponent's deck. Like, but a lot of our cards are good against our opponent's deck. So, that's one thing that we need to be thinking about is what is the best approach to the matchup. So, like, are Vials good? Yes. Do you want to draw 2 in a game? No, not really. Is Thalia good? Yes. Would I rather have answers to their planeswalkers or cripple their graveyard? Yes. Is Surgical fine? Yes. Is it good enough? One thing I can consider doing is swapping a path for his Swords to Plowshares. Because, like, Swordsing a Knight sometimes gives them 8-ish life. But there's a lot of times where giving them the land is very detrimental as well. Definitely we'll keep this hand. We have an answer to an early Bob or Knight. We have an answer to a Planeswalker, and I have a way to get ahead on mana. You know, current plan is play Vile and then Rashad and Port my opponent. That plan can change, but that's the current strategy. Green Sun for Dryad Arbor, probably. Yes. I don't want to deal with a Planeswalker ahead of curve. Like, I just don't want to deal with a turn 2 Oko or Dak Faden. So I'm going to go ahead and nug the Dryad Arbor. Alright, we will get rid of that in a turn. I need to get this Aether Vial in play and have it start ticking up so I can dump cards like this in play. Awkwardly, this does open up me to facing down a Planeswalker, and my opponent could just, like, Dak, steal this, Oko, turn it into an Elk. And both of those things are very bad for me. But if I Rashad and Port, I just get Wastelanded, and I fall further behind in the Mana War. So my opponent took 8 off of their library. Not a good sign for Phil fans. There's Oko. Alright, my opponent just made a food. So unfortunately, I am going to need to Council's Judgment the Oko instead of taking out the Sylvan Library, which is another problem. But I don't know if you've noticed, but Oko is like a Dece to Dece plus magic card. Really hoping that my opponent just taps out for something like a Knight this turn rather than another Planeswalker. I don't have an answer to another Planeswalker currently. Yeah, Ooze is totally fine. So I'll get Wastelanded. Probably. There's worlds where I don't, but I see it happening. Yeah. Ooh. My plan was Flicker Wisp the food, but this is pretty strong if my opponent doesn't have Punishing Fire. I don't think I can take a turn off, though, to play this next turn when I can have Flicker Wisp back up for it. Because if I take the turn off and my opponent answers my Vial, it's so bad for me. Alright, well, we already talked about this scenario. I did my if statement already. We're hoping to draw a land now. So now my opponent will eat my Mirran Crusader, gain a life, then they will return Punishing Fire to hand. This library is so good. The ooze is also making it so that, like, over time, they threaten to be able to draw more cards off of it. God, why? Why? So I get to save either the vial or the mom. I think I'm going to save the mom. So hopefully this ends up being a blowout in my favor. So this was a 1-for-1 trade that took most of their mana. But a land from my opponent is real bad for me. No, they already played Blast Zone, so that's okay. So it'd have to be Mox plus land. Alright. A land, and I probably win this one. That's interesting. I know the Scavenging Ooze is on board, but I'm pretty scared of an Oko or a Dak coming down and helping this game spiral out of control, so I'm just going to choose to shut off one of those. We have a fragile house of cards in that my opponent can, on my end step. Wow, opponent going to 4. How good were those cards? I mean, Tabernacle's pretty good. God damn it. Those cards were pretty good. The final card in their hand is a Punishing Fire. So my opponent probably names human with this. If I target anything... I think I have to force them to name human with this, though, right? Yikes. Okay. So for this turn, I am just going to pay for both of these. Nice. I will just remove that now, because I'm going to do it. So I'll remove that now. My opponent will kill my Flicker Wisp. Then they'll kill my Revoker. Yeah. So Palace Jailer is the way that we're gonna like get back in this game. That's frustrating. think my opponent is being lazy here. Never mind. I will force my opponent to use the Punishing Fire. Just Oko me now. Yep. So I can Flicker Wisp a food to prevent from taking damage in the short term, but then my opponent just like returns Punishing Fires, gets rid of it on my turn. I don't gain a lot by Flicker Wisping here. I might need to just save this in an attempt to do something with it later. I can like destroy a Mox, I can destroy a food. I'm not gaining a lot by playing the Flicker Wisp here, unfortunately. I'm not sure how I feel about my opponent just stockpiling food. I think they need to work towards ending the game before I draw something like a Cataclysm that will just absolutely ruin them. Like, even if I just draw a Rest in Peace and gain the ability to shut off their graveyard-based shenanigans, that alone puts me pretty far ahead. I think it's very hard for me to do damage to them right now. So I think I would have just prioritized winning the game if I were them. Yep, see, there it is. I'm not sure what has happened with timestamps here. It says it has this, but they didn't pay. So 8, 11, 12. I do need to remove a creature, unfortunately. So I thought the way that this worked was if you had a creature and then you Oko'd it, it caused you to lose the ability. Alright, that's my out gone. I don't think I'm going to change anything based on what I saw here. Like we lost to the Punishing Fire, but we had so many outs all game. The fourth land at any point while they still had that Scavenging Ooze in play was just absolutely game over. A Rest in Peace, a Sanctum Prelate, a land. We had so many great draws. This is another reason why I don't play Flagstones in most of my shells. This is a very, very costly interaction. Since opponent doesn't have any graveyard-based synergy yet, I am going to go ahead and just play the Stoneforge here. I have literally no idea why they could be fetching. I'm going to Batter Skull here. Fetch to thin. Alright. Punishing Fire. Sure. So I'm playing very safely with this line. I'm just not allowing my opponent to get to 3 mana to get a Planeswalker in play before I can do something else. Yep, here's the interaction. Thankfully, I keep drawing these better lands. We name Oko over Dak here because of my opponent's current mana situation. Please just play a Knight. Please play a Knight. Let me have it after the last game. Aww. Thank you. This land's so good. This land's so bad. We'll attack this into a Containment Priest. That's fine. Stack. Stack. I am a pretty princess. Super happy to see Pithing Needle there. I don't know if I'll Needle that. I probably won't do it immediately. I'll probably just play Batter Skull in the immediate future. I don't understand. The opponent did not Maze of Ith. They could have Maze of Ith, saved 2 points of damage. Karuk? Yep. Alright, you have a wolf. So what happens if I just send everything at the Planeswalker? My opponent could maze the Batterskull, chump block, Garuk takes 2. I get rid of a wolf. I intend on putting this Mirren Crusader into play off the Ether Vial, and that answers the Garuk next turn pretty handily. I think I'm okay with drawing a card. Just like seeing what I draw. Yeah. Yeah. Goodbye, Planeswalker. Do I just take out their Maze of Ith and start attacking? I think that's probably fine. My resource management evaluations become totally different since I'm the Monarch. So while normally this wouldn't necessarily be the best possible line because like it allowed my opponent to like potentially play an Oko, since I'm the Monarch and I already have a bunch of power on board, I think all of this is just A-okay with me. Yep, alright. Opponent is dead on board. Do you see the line? Do you see the line? Opponent now needs to wasteland this so that I can't equip, but they missed that line. Yeah, so opponent didn't know it, but if I didn't have another land, they were not dead on board that turn. All right, hope you're enjoying. I'll be back tomorrow.